Hi, good evening to all of you, dear. Good evening, all of you. 7:02. Very few people at this point in time. Mohini, I'm seeing you here. Hi, I'm doing great, dear Mohini. How are you doing, beta? Oh, great. That's good. That's good. Okay. Okay. Great. Great. Very good. Now, so we have a few people. Only 13 of them. Kaushiki also. Good evening to you, dear. Good evening to you. Good evening. Sigmund is there. Then we have Narayan and C. See, what we are going to do is that I'm not going to waste any more time. I will straight away get into the chapter, and I'm loading the chapter for you because I have to complete a lot of them and I am really short of time. Our exams are starting from 1st December. We have already, lost last week because of the Diwali. The lectures are not there. And I don't know how am I going to complete all of them in one session. Maybe I have to take one more, but let's see. Okay, so I'm going to go very fast today. Reason being that we have already understood what is strategy, we have understood strategic management, and then we talked about, different levels of strategy. Then we talked about strategic formulation. And today I think we are going to talk about strategic formulation, which is chapter number 8. And I have explained you that earlier also. So what we'll do is we'll go very fast in this, and then implementation we have, and then we have three very simple general things. So I will try to complete all of them today. So Dr. Bhattacharya today is going to go with jet speed. However, that doesn't mean that I am not going to answer your question. That doesn't mean that I am not going to see and tell you what is happening. You can ask me questions and I will answer. Thank you, Mohini. Mohini says, sir, your PCP was too good, sir. Yeah, people who have attended the PCP, I think, for them, this will be a revision and a very fast track revision. And for people who have not attended the PCP, no problem. Okay, we will see how we move ahead. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm sending you chapter number 8. I'm sending the link of chapter number 8, and we will start off with chapter number 8. Okay. Well, thank you. Yeah, he's saying our PCP was too good, sir. Thank you very much. Let us move ahead, dear. I hope that you have got the chapter number 8, which is strategic formulation. Okay, so I'll just move ahead. For all those people who are not there in the PCP, no problem. Okay, just concentrate. I'm going to go fast. Just refreshing, dear. Just refreshing. Remember this. Okay, we said the first thing was mission, vision, objective, goal, then do a SWOT analysis. You can do SWOT analysis even when, which means in between objective, goal and strategic formulation, we have to do SWOT analysis. I said this, all this up here are of top management, down say strategic implementation, evaluation and control at all hierarchical level. Okay, at all hierarchical level. That's what I said, if you remember. Right? With that, what we are going to do is we have already done chapter number 6, which was business unit level strategy. We also did chapter number 7, which is, functional unit level strategy, because we saw that corporate level strategy or strategy has got 3 levels: corporate level, business unit level, functional level. So we talked about functional level as well as business unit level, and now we are looking at strategic formulation process. Now, what is strategic formulation? Very clear, dear. We started off by saying that we need to understand the SWOT analysis. What is our SWOT? We need to understand that. We need to evaluate the impact which will be there on the strategic option. So strategic formulation is a very important stage in the overall strategic management process. I have made this statement umpteen times, right? That it is a very important stage. And after you analyze what is the environment. We talked about chapter number 3, analysis of industry, analysis of competition. We spoke in chapter number 4 or 2 and 3, I think. Chapter number 2 and 3, we spoke about analysis of external environment. which means that whenever we are actually as an organization going to operate in a particular industry, we need to analyze the industry, we need to analyze the competition, we need to analyze the external environment, which is pestle factor, political environment, economical environment, social environment, technological environment, economical environment, legal environment, as well as natural environment. So after we analyze these both the things, now it is time to understand that do we have the internal capacities in the organization and capabilities that could be resources in every aspect, resources of people, resources of men, resources of material, resources of money. Do we have this internal capabilities which will actually be able to combat the external environment? In case the external environment is not suitable to our internal sources, what do we do? And therefore, we involve an analysis of the organizational characteristic, which means we need to understand our SWOT. I'm again taking you back to this. Objective goal, now you're formulating a strategy. You scan, I've seen you scan a goal se mara. You scan the internal environment, you scan the external environment and the internal environment, and now you see that dear to my strategy formulate karunga, uske liye after I scan the environment, what is my SWOT analysis, and then I probably go and probably will formulate the strategies. What is SWOT analysis? Dear, I think so many principles of management se leke you are using SWOT analysis every time, dear. What is SWOT? Is a primary step in a strategic formulation or strategic management process. I give an example, that when we talk about doing 100 crore to 200 crores, right, and we go about 100 crore to 200 crore, I give this example and explain the PCP on the board, and when we are going to do that, dear, right, it is important that, for example, we need to understand, do we have the financial strength? If you say, yes, we have the financial strength, then it's okay. But if you do not have the financial strength, if you're operating in an industry which has got huge opportunities, if there is a big threat as a competitor standing in front of you, then is that particular strategic intent that an organization takes, that we want to increase our sales from 100 to 200 in 2 years' time, is that a right strategy? Is that a right objective? Leave aside the strategy. In case at this stage we feel, no, it's not right. Yeah, no, it's not right. Then in such a situation, we'll have to go back and evaluate and then correct ourselves and then probably change the objective before we formulate the strategy. So SWOT is a primary step in the strategic formulation of the strategic management process. And what are the strengths that a company needs to understand? Simple, dear. Company needs to understand what is the company's image, what is the company's reputation, what are the different products that the company is selling, and what kind of brands do company has. Company needs to understand the products and services that they're selling, the market share of their product and services in the industry. The company needs to understand, do we have some specific expertise? For example, Infosys may say that I have very specific expertise in IT solutions when it comes to the banking industry. So they are very well known that, well, this is my expertise and therefore this is where we are in, right? So we need to understand that we have to analyze all the strengths which the organization has. SWOT analysis helps the objective. It helps organization to have awareness about its capabilities, about the credentials that the organization have, and also helps to understand what could be the perceived weaknesses. This could be general weaknesses also. It could be weaknesses which are there, but it could also be weaknesses, or it could also be weaknesses which are perceived by the organization, which means it may not be the actual weakness, but it is a perceived weakness. But we need to understand that clearly before stepping into the strategic formulation process. We cannot start the strategic formulation process, dear friend, without doing this. I'm repeating, mission, vision, goal objective, scanning the environment, SWOT analysis, and now we are clear, and now we will put the objective which is right, and then we will formulate the strategy. Without that, strategic formulation is not the right thing. Are you clear? Are you clear? Let me ask you. Are you clear? Are you clear? Oh, very good. Okay. Very Moni and all, you have been there in the PCP, so I'm sure Kaushiki, Moni, you have all been coming for PCP, so you know it's clear. But I'm asking all the other people who are not coming and who are here, is it clear what I said? Mandeep, is it clear to you? Right? Gish, is it clear to you? Sweetash, I don't think you come. Sigmund doesn't come. Sigmund, is it clear to you? Right? Is it clear? Is it clear? Simon, are you there? Is it clear to you? Because you know, I'm just asking people who I normally don't see in PCP. So I'm just asking, is it clear to all of you? For people who are not coming, for people who are coming, I know that it will be clear to them because we explained face to face and we talked about certain other examples also. Thank you, Sigmund. Sigmund says yes, sir. So what are the categories of firms resources? Company needs to understand what are my strengths. Human resources is my strength, right? What is my strength as human resources? Do I have good people? Do I have experienced people? Do I have people who have the knowledge, the experience, the capability, the skills, the intellectual property? Do we have that? We need to understand the organization resources, the systems that we follow in the company, the resources, the processes that we follow, the strategy at various levels, 3 levels we have already spoken about, the structure of the organization and the culture of the organization. So we need to understand what are the organizational resources, friends, and physical resources, which means the plant, the machinery, the equipment which we have, right? Whether they are in line, the technology that we are having, the raw materials which we buy, distribution setup. So you need to analyze the strength. You need to understand the competitive advantages that your organization has over your competitor. You need to understand where organization can do better than the competition. Where is it? What is the niche? Where is the gap? Where we can still get into that and probably fulfill what the customer is looking at. So we have to continuously find out the gap in the system. We have to continuously find out new evolving needs of the customer. And once we are able to do that, we will see whether we will be able to actually look. That perception of people in the market is very, very important towards your product. Because, dear, I have said earlier, I'm again repeating, Jack Trout is a guru of marketing. He said that marketing, you know, in marketing, there is no objective reality. He said there is no good or bad product in this world. Marketing is just a battle of perception. Everything else is an illusion. Very clear, Beta. Imagine when you go for an interview, you see. When you go for an interview, you are very good, right? You have the experience, you have the knowledge, you have the qualification, you are, you know, the company, whatever package the company is willing to pay, it fits into what you want. So everything is there. But an interviewer will perceive you in a certain way. The interviewer will understand that, dear, this person is whom I want. So with the perception that the interviewer will have with you, he or she will take you. Dear friend, always remember, when you have bought any product or service, you have first paid the money, taken the product, and then use the service. Take this example, you know, this course of yours. You first paid your fees and then you are allowed to come. Which means that whatever analysis, whatever things you need to do beforehand, and you buy a product or a service, not after trying the product or a service, but before trying the product and a service, which means that you pay the money on the perception that you have about that product or service. The perception of that this particular product or service will meet my desired objective. This particular product or service is something which will help me and I will be able to get what I am looking at. So perceptions is very important. An organization, dear friends, needs to understand the various perception that people have about them, about their products, about their services, because this is very important, very important. So every advertising which is done, right, for all those people who will be taking marketing in their next years, we have a subject called consumer buyer behavior, and you will see that all the things that we do there is basically looking at, we also have another subject called advertising and sales promotion. I'm doing the PCP for them, advertising and sales promotion for the earlier batch than yours. And I say dear, that advertising builds up the perception, yeah, this is the product, and perception therefore is of prime importance, dear. And perception therefore is major factor which drive the sales. There are many other factors also. Organization needs to understand what are those factors, and do we have the strength in that area? Are we able to innovate our products or services? If there are weaknesses, we need to analyze our weaknesses, where the company lacks. What is it? What is, their, aspect to be avoided by the company? We need to understand, therefore, what are the perception of people related to companies' weaknesses. Like we will understand the perception towards strength of our company. Similarly, we should also understand what people consider as weaknesses in. I am not saying what they consider as weakness is really a weakness. I'm not saying that. But if it is not a weakness, and if the company or customers feels it is a weakness, it is a high time that we correct that situation and let the people know that, dear, this is not my weakness, but this is also one of my strengths. So we need to understand the perception, you see, of what people have towards our product. Analyze opportunities. Good opportunities companies need to spot. Companies need to always move on scanning. Interesting trend that the company needs to track, which means they have to continuously go on scanning, evaluating what is happening in the environment. Is there new niches which are opening up? Are there new market segments which we can work on? Is it the segment which is really opened up and I can come with a new product in that segment? What is it that the competitors are doing? What are the different segments that the competitors are basically looking at? What is it that the competitor has come up with a new product in a new market segment? Okay, these are opportunities for the company. That means we have to continuously analyze the opportunity. We also have to continuously analyze threats. Threats like obstacles that the company may be facing, obstacles that the company is facing. The quality standards are changing. Technological advancement is happening. The new technology is coming into play. Do we have, as a company, the strength, therefore, to combat those threats? So we need to understand these threats. When our business grows up, we may have a cash flow issue. So what are our cash flow issue? What do we do to do that? There could be some regulatory compliances that need to basically be adhered to depending on the product or the service or the company or the sector that we are actually working on, and regulatory action is impacting the company. So we should understand that. We should understand the board as a board organization. There is a board of directors, and as a board, we need to understand what are their assessment of the SWOT analysis. What is it they're looking at? What are they actually looking at? Executive management assessment, therefore, is very important. We need to understand the background and the capabilities of top managers. Do they have that kind of spirit? Organization is changing because the environment is changing. Do we have people who are good at change management? Do we have people who are, is it that the people are there for 20 years in the organization, they have got a set mindset, and now they are reluctant to change, they therefore are resistant to change, and therefore changing them itself is a huge problem internally. We need to understand the tenure of top management. It will help for stable and consistent strategy development. So it works both then. On one end, you have some people who are not willing to change. On another, you have people who are willing to change. We have to understand who are the top managers. We have to understand the line managers. We have to understand everybody's weakness, opportunities, threats. We need to train them, develop them. We need to give them whatever they require. We need to probably, feed them well. We need to compensate them well. We need to get the right people, deploy them at the right place at the right time, at the right money. Now that's what we need to do as managers. We have to look at how do we do that. Attrition rates, in case there are there, how do we specially look at to control the levels of attrition at all positions and specifically at key positions. We need to have appraisals in place. We need to have performance appraisals. Therefore, we need to be that these are effective, and we need to look at the organization resources. We need to have corporate, business, and functional level strategy in the right place. We have already done all these three chapters, chapter number 4, 5, and 6, or 5, 6, and 7. We have spoken about it. There should be a consistency in everybody down the level because the objective is the same. Consistency between organization strategy, consistency between organization structure at every hierarchical level. We need to understand the position in the industry for the organization. What are the physical resources that the company has? What are the things which we analyze? Technology, distribution network of the company, production capacity, technology, assess to whether we have an assess to see that we can probably have a position where we can negotiate with our vendors and get the products at a lower rate, get reliable quality supply, and get it at a lower cost. We need to analyze all of these. So when you do a SWOT analysis, and coming back to your dear, when you do your goals and objective is set, now you're doing a SWOT analysis, scanning the environment, you need to do SWOT analysis of every department of an organization. We need to understand strengths, weakness, and opportunity that the organization has as a whole, and the threats that are there. And last but not the least, dear, as we know, that whatever we will formulate as a strategy to achieve our goals and objectives, that has to be in line with management ethics. We have to do everything with ethics. What is ethics? Your value system, right? We need to have social responsibility. Every organization has got certain social responsibility to the society at large, and what we do for the society is very important, and therefore we call it societal marketing concept, or we call it CSR, corporate social responsibility. Every organization needs to do that. And what are the business ethics that organization should practice? Integrity, right? Very important. You need to be honest in your dealings first. Right. You need to stand for your right. You need to be honest for your dealing. You should respect people internally and externally. It's not that I respect only my customer. Dear, customer are basically people who are our external people who buy from us. We call it customers, external employees are internal customers. So external customers are our people who buy from us. Internal customers are people who work for us. We need to understand and respect and dignity, whichever they have. We need to give them the respect, the regard, what they deserve. We need to be accountable. We need to honor commitments. We need to have people who have that kind of spirit of accountability. We need to behave very responsible. We need to have corporate social responsibility, which is every organization is doing. And I'm sure many of your organizations that you're working on has this kind of corporate responsibility which they are looking at. Dear friend, strategic managers therefore must conduct SWOT analysis, SWOT matrix, generate the strategic alternatives for the company, and therefore we need to understand that this is a very, very important stage. I have explained this to you again and again. Strategic mission vision, objective goal, SWOT analysis, scanning the environment, both internal and external, then formulate a strategy. Once you formulate the strategy, you have to see that aisa nahi hai, hook or by crook, I should get the things what I wanted and set as my objective. You need to be honest in your dealings. You need to respect. There has to be dignity in whatever we do. And we also need to understand that whatever we are doing as an organization, we also have some social responsibility, and we need to cater to that responsibility. That ends your chapter, which is strategic formulation. I'm loading chapter number 9, dear. I have to finish 5-6 chapters today. In case you have any questions on this, because I have already been telling this again and again, but yet if you have any questions, I will take that. In the meantime, I am loading the next chapter. Okay. You got the link? Yeah, Mohini, you are asking the link, right? Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, Sanjay. Good evening. Great. Okay. So you downloaded. Yeah. Okay. Welcome, dear. Yeah. So download it from the link. I'm doing chapter number 9, strategic implementation. So from start, I'm going to refer again and again to this, dear. We have strategic formulation. Now we are going strategic implementation. Dear, understand. Very important. Very, very important. Understand. Up till now, whatever we did is done from the top management. Once we get into implementation process, which is this process, now this is done at all hierarchical levels. All the hierarchical implementation has to be done. This implementation of strategy that we formulate has to be done in such a level so that we meet the original objective which we have. So everyone needs to be in sync. So we will go, and any questions you have on chapter number 8? Anyone has any questions on chapter number 8? Yeah. I don't see anyone asking, which means either they have understood or not. They have not understood anything. Okay. Yeah. Great. So we move ahead with strategic implementation. Yeah, we always understand this. Good. We go to strategic implementation. What is strategic implementation? Just understand the different approaches to strategic implementation and the formulation. During strategic implementation, friends, strategic managers face a number of challenges and issues needs to be considered in advance, which means that when we are formulating the strategy, you need to understand कि यार अगर मैं ये चीज बोलूंगा सेगमेंट को करने, तो यार ये नाटक करेगा, right? If I tell him that this needs to be done, this is what we have to do as a manager, then these guys will come up and say, "Kya nahi sir, kya this is too much sir, nahi hota sir," right? It's too big a challenge sir, right? Now what happens is that we need to consider when we formulate a strategy, we need to also consider, dear, that what is it that need to do. Dear, in one of the PCP, I said that when I started my career in marketing as a product management, I was moved into sales for some time. And when I asked my boss told me that Deepak, is very easy to talk and you are a good guy, you can talk well, and you probably can stand on the podium and impress 2,000 people just by your voice and just by the stories and just by your experience and what you do, you are good. But dear, let us understand that when you will be formulating a strategy in order to meet the goal and objective of the organization, the implementation of the strategy will be done at all hierarchical level, and people sitting here who will be listening to what you are telling them, they will not say anything, but they will feel, oh, how this man is, he knows nothing, Dear friends, we need to understand, therefore, that it is very important for a manager to be at that level, having done those things himself at the different levels. Once he does those things at different levels, he understands what are the problems that those people may face at that point in time when they are delivering what they have been delivering. So when you go up the level and you then formulate a strategy, you know what are the things that these people may come up to you, and you also know what are the answers. You also know what are the things which are genuine. You also know what are the things that are just telling बड़ा चढ़ा के. लेकिन अगर आप खुद नहीं आपने किया है, तो आप कैसे बताओगे? So before you formulate a strategy, it is very important for you to understand who are the implementer of this strategy. And since I was from the sales and marketing background, my implementation in my functional department, which is sales, will obviously be the sales people. So he told me that you need to go go and sell as a salesman for 1 year in the market. And believe me here, for 1 year, shop to shop, I used to go and sell my products. When I went to go shop to shop and selling my product, then I understood after not, it was a continuous learning that what are the problems that a sales guy faces. What is the problem or what are the different challenges that he needs to combat with when he moves and delivers a strategy. So when I went up and I was in the process of formulating strategy for my department, obviously, and then for the people I'm holding, and then for a bigger area, and then for a bigger area, and then for the organization, I understood here. When I formulated a strategy, I considered first that what could be the issues. I'm sure here, many people, may I know which chapter topic? I am on chapter 9, Pankaj. I am on chapter 9. Chapter topic, I'm chapter 9, okay? So we need to understand that what are the things. Like I gave this example to Sigmund. Now, Sigmund is working in a particular area at a lower level. He understood what it is. Now he's an IT, I remember him. Then he goes up and then he further goes up. Now, since people who are reporting to him, he comes with solutions. He has answers to those solutions. He also knows what are genuine, what are not genuine. So when he's formulating a strategy and asking his people under him to implement that strategy, he beforehand only considers, when he formulates, that what are the things that we need to consider. So post-formulation, so now he's saying, my profile has changed. Now I'm an asset manager for TCS. Yeah, good. Congratulations here. If that's a growth, it is congratulations. I don't know whether it's a growth or a horizontal movement here, right? But very vertical or horizontal, I don't know. Okay, so let us see here. What we're doing is post-formulation, only solid execution of strategy can keep the organization's business sustainable and growing and meeting its goals and meeting its objective, and which is in line with the mission and which is in line with the vision. So we talked about vision, then mission, then objective, then goal. And when we have this objective and goal clarified, I said we need to scan environment. Internal, external. I said we need to understand the SWOT analysis. Organizations, individual. Once we do all that, now we will formulate a strategy which will help us meet our goals and objectives. Now you have formulated the strategy. But when you formulate the strategy, you need to consider what are the different things, challenges which will come. So we are formulating. Now you have formulated, and now it goes for implementation. Implementation at all hierarchical level. Here, a good strategy has no meaning if it is not implemented properly. I have seen many people in this world, right, having an absolutely fantastic plan and a roadmap on how and what they need to do and what is it that they are good at and how they will go about it, and they know their strength, weakness, opportunity, threat. They have scanned the environment. They know what they need to do. They have very clearly identified what is the mission and the purpose of their life. They have found out a goal. They are very clear on achieving that goal. They formulate an absolutely fantastic strategy, a formulation of a strategy, what they need to do to see that they achieve it. But now when it comes to implementation and achievement, he says, Jaane do na yaar. So their strategic implementation process is an action phase of the strategic management process. You and me also in our life would have done various plans, short term and long term, would have done various things. It could be small thing like, going to let's say, a gym, and I want to go to gym, right? So you and I have to do like this, and for this, if I have a body like this, a slim figure with a great muscle and looking fine, and I need to look fit, and I need to go to a gym, I will reduce my weight by 5 kgs, and therefore, that's an objective. You reduce my weight by 5 kg, 1 kg in 2 months, and then 3 kgs the next month, and 2 kg, and 5 kgs by 6 months. What you need to do, dear, you need to go and you formulate, I need to go to the gym, I will eat so much, no mithai, no this thing, no that thing, so formulate. Absolutely. Now you go to the gym. 1 month goes to the gym, after that you become puss. Dear, let me tell you, please don't mind my saying so, I'm a blunt man. Let me tell you, you are in the first semester of your first year, right? And we have in this room only 36 people. 36, I see 36 people out of 4,000 average number of people in a batch. And the same people, and when we started off this batch, we had, at least for we said in the first semester, first term, midterm, more than 300 people. Second term, maybe 250, 70. Second semester, first term, right, midterm, 150, 130. And second semester, end term, 36 was. And now we say we want to grow, you know. Dear, this is, please, I'm not talking about you. Please understand it, you know. Bhavana ko samjho. Understand this, dear, right? See, dear, all those 4,000 people had an objective or has an objective. I want to become like this. I was telling somebody else in the PCP, I think I told, I don't know whether it was your PCP or not, right? So, you know, we have seen that, you know, and I have seen there that there was I'm a strategic consultant to a company. I tell you this, please don't mind, you know, but strategy, a consultant. And what happened is that there was some work with the managing director. He called me and I was just in. And then he told me, and then he reminded me, sorry, Deepak, you know what, you know, we have taken a lady, you know, she's very, we have, you know, given her a 17 lakhs package. And, you know, at the mid-level, it was a mid when maybe a senior, you know, and was there. Yeah, Mohini is saying, so you shared this in our PCV. Because it's a very recent case, so I remember Mohini. So, you know, it's there. And, you know, sir, आप उसको देखो ना. तो मैंने कहा यार मैं क्या आपने तो देखा करके, because you know I don't see, you know, I'm not involved into recruitment in that company, you know, at a level which is lower than the general manager's level, and this lady was not at the general manager level. So then, but he said, you know, sir, please, she's here because she's morning, you know, we have seen and we are making the offer letter, you know. So I've asked her to wait. And you know, sir, she's from Wellington. Wow, from Wellington, that's good. You see, oh, call her. And then, you know, she came. They called her, so she came. She came and I didn't recognize her. So looking at me, that boss, he asked, I have not named the company or the person, a big man. He asked that lady, you are from Wellington, na? You're telling me, yeah, you're from Wellington, man, from Wellington, yeah. You know him? You don't know him? So she said, no, I don't know him. Who is he? She said, you don't know Dr. Bhattacharya? He said, no. She said, okay, you please sit outside, you know. And then she asked, he tells me, sir, she is doing for PG, sir. What has she done, sir? That she doesn't know you? Now, why? Now, please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that I'm a celebrity and everybody knows me now. What I'm saying is everybody knows that I'm involved with Wellinger and I do a lot of work here. And many people who come here full-time again knows me. So what happens is that then he started thinking that, dear, what is the course that this girl did when he doesn't know him? So then she asked, you know, I said, I don't know, you see what's the course that she did. She did PGDM. And you call about it, PGDM, Kala, so it was PGDM. And dear, so I said, no, she definitely has done the course. But she said, how come, sir? He said, you know, then I told her, it's yes, people are coming, people are there and all that. We do a lot of work on this. Absolutely fantastic course. We are the top people in this country or even abroad if I feel into this kind of format, because we are in hybrid program, online, offline, value-added activities, video lectures. And I was saying, sir, but you know, she doesn't know. So, you know, video lecture, nothing. You will be shocked to know it was very sad. It was her destiny, dear. Her offer got cancelled. Dear, let us understand, right, that let us not do something just because we have to do it. because God is there, you know. So dear, what I am trying to tell you is, right, and this is not applicable to all of you because all of you come, right, but I'm telling you how the strategy of doing a thing. I just spoke about values and ethics, you see. I spoke about integrity, values, morals, right? Very important here. Very, very important here, right? So many people, dear, in Mumbai. I'm not talking about outside Mumbai because they can't come, right? But yet we do VCF. Yet we do so many things we are ready to give, so many things we are ready to give, but people are unwilling to take it here. And then they say that I am an MBA. I, I sometimes, you know, sometimes really feel that, you see, corporate knows that here. I am going to tangential, right? I just went on by saying something and it's, you know, I was, you know, it just remembered and Mohini said, sir, you just, because it had happened a few days back, Mohini, so I remembered this, so I shared it with you people. Let's understand here, very clear cut was 38 people now, all right? 38 people. First year, second semester, right? They understand. So all these people have a strategy. I'm coming back to where I started. Had a strategy. What happened? They told what happened? They want to study. What happened? Yet they will study. Yet they will pass. Yet they will get a degree or certificate or diploma or PhD or whatever. But that's not going to help them. Let me tell you. Yeah, I'm much senior to you by age. I'm 50, dear. Right? Let us understand. You have to be very clear what you do. Implementation. Now this is an implementation part, what you think you would be doing, right? Implementation. You implement what you want to implement. First step in the implementation process, therefore, in an organization is to create an appropriate environment, right? Is to create a particular environment, right? What you are saying, Razi, is what he's saying. It is the knowledge which is to be perceived and not course. Well, everybody has got a different objective, Razi, right? I don't know you're from which place, right? Everybody has got a different perspective. Whatever that perspective is, the corporate knows. Ultimately, you will go to work for a corporate, right? And corporate will test you. Remember that, right? Okay, first step in the implementation, therefore. Approaches to strategy implementation kya hai? Formulation of the strategy and the structure at all three levels: corporate level, SBU level, functional level, right? Corporate, this also, you know, I made one diagram which is not there, I think, at this point in time. Corporate level, SBU level, as well as corporate level. We need to understand. We should understand and measure the strategy through setting up KPIs. What is KPI? Key performance indicators. What are those? We need to understand those KPIs. We need to report the progress to the board. We need to make decisions, set the direction for what we want to do. We need to identify the strategic projects for the organization. We need to align it in such a way that it is in sync, right, to the strategies and the goals of the organization. I told you, everything has to be sync. Uppar se niche tak, whatever you do, whatever we are doing dear, whatever we are doing here, dear, right here, whatever we are doing, obviously it has to be in line with our formulation, which has to be line with our goal and objective, which has to be line with your mission and vision. It has to be in sync, boss. That's very important, you know. We need to have a very clear articulation and communication of the strategy to every particular organization employee. We need to make him or her clear in our level what is it we need to do, and communication of strategy till that level is very important, right? We need to align the individual roles to the overall strategy. Because if you are talking about structure of an organization, your structure goes cut, right? So you are there and then structure comes down. So you have more people at the level and every individual its own role. Every individual has its own goal. Every individual has got its own career objective. Every individual has its own circumstances. Every individual has got its own strength, weakness, opportunities and threats. And therefore we need to understand that how is it that we could help probably to align that individual's goal to the overall strategy so that they make meaningful contribution and help the implementation process in the right spirit, boss. That's important. In the right spirit, from heart. Like I said here, the most dangerous weapon on this earth is the human heart on fire. Right? So what we need to do is we have to understand that it is the human heart on fire, dear. The passion which they need to go about. So they will only be passionate if their individual goals and objectives are in line with the organizational, and if they know therefore that if I do my best and the organization grow, I will also grow. Now people have to be rewarded and recognized for performances which they do help and which they do to help the implementation process. So how do we go about, what is the organization structure of strategic implementation? Very simple, dear. First is the organization structure. What is organization structure? You learned in principle of management, right? Suppose you have a CEO, then CEO has got 5 vice president. One vice president is a sales or marketing, one vice president production, one vice president research and development, one vice president supply chain, etc. Now, if it is production, then you're the general manager production. He reports to general manager production. Will have factory managers if there are 5 factories, and how do you go about till the plant level? Same way with the IT industry, same way. So the organization structure needs to be very clearly articulated and defined, because the implementation process will move through every hierarchical level till the person who is doing the ground level job. Everybody is part of that organization. So the first thing is the organization structure of strategic implementation process. So that it becomes effective, it requires to have and to be taken care of a few factors. One of the factors is obviously the organization structure, which you could also call as an organization chart or a Gannon, like that. You have different nomenclatures for them. Then the delegation of authority. See, we cannot give an individual as a manager, we cannot give them only responsibility. We need to give them the authority to fulfill that responsibility. But if I do not give the authority, how will he fulfill the responsibility? So who has to be given authority? How do we delegate the authority? What authority has to be given at what level? How much authorities, which type of authority, which kind of decision can they take at different levels has to be clearly defined. The third is that since we have already spoken about, right, of how do we be going ahead with, we need to understand how do we mobilize and allocate the resources which are available. We need to understand what are the resources available and how do we go and mobilize and allocate. एक तो कैसे हम पैसे को लाएंगे या आदमी को लाएंगे या रॉ मटेरियल को लाएंगे, जो भी है resources. We spoke about various kind of resources in the last chapter. So once we talk about resources, how will you allocate those resources? Who will you give the responsibility? What will be the matrix of responsibility given to whom? And I've always said authority is very important. We need to inform and communicate what we need to do at all levels. So communication of a strategy is very vital. I would say right communication of the strategy is very vital, friends, for effective implementation. If the strategy is not communicated properly, if the strategy is not communicated at every hierarchical level properly, then implementation will not happen. So communication is also very important. Then the policies and guidelines in which we will work. What is the framework of the organization? What are the policies? What are the processes? What are the systems that are laid down by the organization? And how we go and follow these systems and guidelines are very important. And last but not the least is when you are implementing a strategy, when you actually formulate a strategy, I should go a little further back down. You had a particular situation, you had a particular internal environment, you had a particular external environment, you had certain strength, weakness, opportunities, threat, and then you formulated the strategy. Now when you're implementing the strategy and you are 6 months or 8 months down the line in implementation process, it is not necessary that whatever the conditions were when you actually formulated the strategy will remain the same. Maybe there are new opportunities which have come up. Maybe there is a new threat which has come up. Your weaknesses which you identified, which were perceived weaknesses by the customer, you worked on that, and in 8 months' time you have completed or converted that weakness, and therefore now it is probably people are looking at you as a strength area, or if they are not looking at you as a strength also, they are not looking at you as a weak area. So dear, if we do not continuously evaluate what is happening, if we do not therefore control in case things are not the way we want it to be, our next chapter is evaluation and control, then we will go wrong somewhere. So strategic implementation is the action phase, yes, but it needs to be continuously evaluated and controlled as we move ahead, right? This is how we actually get to strategy. So you have an annual operating plan which you make. How do we plan and what are the things that we do? What are our goals? What are our annual objectives? What are different kinds of organization structure? Is it a hierarchical organization structure composed of many leadership levels, or whereas because a hierarchical organization structure probably has got many levels of leadership. The less hierarchical or a flat organization structure will have few levels of hierarchy and probably may have a wide span of control. You have understood in principles of management what is span of control. If I have got 3 people reporting to me, my span of control is 3. So what is the span of control? In flatter organization, you may have more span of control, which means you will have more people reporting to you compared to a hierarchical organization where there are different levels across the hierarchy. Then you have functional organization. Functional organization focus on the development of specialized capabilities to support the organization strategy. So what are functional structures? Functional organizations, friends, are best suited as a producer of standard goods and services, and they work on large volume and work on low cost. That is a functional strategy which people look at. So SBU we have already looked at, and SBU structure of an organization breaks down the company into different business units. We know what is SBU. I'm not repeating this, boss. Break down into different business units, and we have to understand that companies organize their product and services, categorize it into different business units, look at different target customers, and work towards them. So organization structure, therefore, importantly, you have a matrix structure of organization. Today, if you see, I've shown many people in IT also has a matrix structure of organization, whereas modern organizations use matrix structure where there are dual triple reporting, So modern organizations use matrix structure to suit the needs and challenges associated with a fast changing business requirement. Organization needs to periodically evaluate the suitability of an organization so that we are able to allocate the resources that we have in the right place at the right time with the right people, right? And we need to actually go on evaluating, I've already said this, continuously, and therefore controlling what they are there. The policy and guidelines, I've already spoken about it here. And what we do when it comes to strategic implementation, there are 5 kind of approaches that we take care here. 5 approaches to strategic implementation. First is called as the commander approach. What is commander approach? Maine bol diya, kar do. I have told you do it. Best strategy is decided by top management, passes on to the subordinate, execute. Organizational change approach. What is organization change? You probably adapt to implement some difficult strategy because of some behavioral behavioral techniques, and I spoke about change management therefore. So sometimes people are there in an organization for long, and now you want to change if you formulated a strategy. Now you formulate a strategy and now you want to implement the strategy. Organizing people in the organizations are not willing to accept that change. They are not willing to accept that change. So what do you have to do? You have to probably look at organizational change process. A lot of companies do change management program. I have done a few change management program for organizations. That how do probably you have to accept to change. So change, organizational change approach. What is collaborative approach? As the word suggests, collaboratively we will work, and senior managers work with collaboration to see that it is done. Cultural approach. What is cultural? मेरे कंपनी में यही कल्चर है, हम लोग मिल बांट करते हैं, या मैं बोल देता हूँ ऐसा करना है, ऐसा ही करेंगे. Plays a role of a mentor, or I say, dear, don't worry, I am your boss, I am a mentor, come on, do it. We'll see, do it, right? I will give you general direction. I will encourage you. I will encourage you to take decisions, right? Individual decisions, so you take that decision. That's the culture. Culture में चल रहा है. Criticism approach. What is criticism approach? It is bottom-top approach. Bottom-top approach. Criticism approach. Strategic manager encourages subordinates. आप बताओ क्या करना है, कैसे करना है, क्या करेंगे, क्या जरूरत है. So you actually encourage subordinates to develop them so that they are good in their work, they become champions in their role, and therefore they implement sound strategies on their own. Because they have only had the strategy, so obviously they will implement on their own. So that is honest recessive approach. So strategy implementation process, friends, 5 kinds of approach: commander approach, organizational change approach, collaborative approach, cultural approach, and criticism approach. Criticism is bottom up, bottom up approach. So that is how. Now obviously whenever you implement the strategy, obviously there are a lot of challenges which are there. And we have spoken about a few challenges. Complacency, like sir, Sigmund has written, we have grown and we have become Mahagurus. So Sigmund is probably trying to say, I don't know, that sir, we have grown and we have become Mahagurus, which means he's trying to say that he knows everything and it is not required for him to come for PCP. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm asking Sigmund, is that what you are meaning, Sigmund? Okay. I don't know, because that's what implies perceived implication, I really don't know. But anyway, don't you worry, whatever you meant, let's understand that we have challenges. And we need to understand. Sometimes, strategic management will work with status quo bias. चलो यार चल रहा है, जैसा चल रहा है चलने दो. Weak environment, lack of perseverance, नहीं हो रहा है, कोशिश कर रहा हूँ, हो नहीं रहा है. People give up. Enthusiasm comes down, energy comes down, motivation comes down, passion comes down. Attrition rates, people have left. An important key position person leaves, right? Passion comes down. So you have different challenges which you are then in an organization. But yet in view of all the challenges also, we need to move ahead, we need to do, and we need to go about implementing the strategy. The structure of an organization, therefore, to summarize, is one of the critical factors for effective strategic implementation process, because the type of structure of an organization will determine the type of hierarchical level of implementation that we do. And therefore, we have various structures which we look at. Leadership, therefore, is required, and effective leadership will ensure that strategy is implemented with necessary changes. If at all we want to make the necessary changes, we can make the necessary changes, if any, during the challenging times which we will get. So that is called as strategic implementation process. So we did mission vision, we did objective as well as goals. Then we understood what is the internal, scanning the environment, internal and external, did a SWOT analysis, then formulated a strategy, looking at post-implication thing. After you formulated the strategy, you went on implementing the strategy at all hierarchical level, different kind of strategic implementation process, right? We spoke about 5 strategic implementation process. Once you implement the strategy, now you talk about evaluation and control, which is our next chapter. Evaluation and control. So I'm loading the next chapter for you, evaluation and control. I have to finish another 3. Those are all general chapters which we will do. Very fast we can go about it. But this is what entire strategic management process, very important, very critical for an organization. And therefore we need to understand all of this, right? Any questions I will take, I'm always willing to take questions, So any questions we will take, right? The case studies given in the book after this chapter. Mohini, I'm sorry, we cannot talk about the entire case study because we require a one-to-one conversation for a case study discussion here, right? And therefore, if you see, I gave, we will not be able to do case study, but yes, if you have any question regarding that, and if you can give me a list, I will take you online, anyone online, and we discuss. I'm open to that here, right? So I'm loading the next chapter. Okay, yeah, I have noted the chapter number 10, which is strategic evaluation and control. In the meantime, I see a big Girish has written something. Okay, let me see what Girish has written. Arey baap re, bada lamba likhe ho bhai. Kya likha hai? Dear sir, sorry to divert from the subject. Okay, regarding today's gross absenteeism of student, my view is as follows. Okay, let me read. Okay. Absenteeism, anyway, I will give you a response after I read the entire thing. Okay. It is experience that VCF lectures on Thursday and especially on Fridays are a bit difficult to attend. The reasons being generally employees or even bosses are lethargic during the whole week towards completion of assigned tasks. And once the weekend arrives like Thursday or Fridays, everybody is in a hurry to not extend the job for the next week. Hence, at times, working employees are compelled to sit back and complete the task. Due to this, there is a possibility many times to either lose the whole VCF lecture or miss a major portion of the VCF lecture. Hence, for effective implementation of the VCF lecture, wherein lots of efforts, energy, time, etc. are equally invested by the respected faculty members, it is thereby requested that the VCF lectures be scheduled either midweek or start week, but not for sure in the tail end of the week. Sir, I had raised my above concern on the help desk, but did not get a desired resolution. However, I'm sure if only you intervene, and with due respect to all your experience as well as a known faculty of Wellinger, that the management will reschedule the weekend VCF lectures either on the start of the week or the midweek for effective implementation of VCF. I earnestly request to make up the matter. Okay, let me. Girish, do you have a webcam? I'll take you online. Do you have a webcam? Yes or no? Well, he says he doesn't have one. Okay, no problem. Yeah, sir, for January 15 batch, all BCs have been on Thursday and Fridays only right from the start. Yeah, that's right. Very good. You have answered me, Sandeep. See, Sandeep. See, Girish. Look at it. Now, let us take as a case study and understand strategy. Let me use that. See, we as an organization, giving this course, our admissions are 4 times a week, in a year. We have people who get admitted. Like, for example, you have taken, like they say, the January 15 batch. When you are taking the admission, it is very clearly mentioned, writing the dates for the 2 years and the days for the 2 years, not 2 years, sorry, 1 year, when you will be having your VCF, PCPs are not mentioned, VCF, and when your exam time will be, when you will have to enroll and things like that. Here, our policies and systems, right, are very clear, and we have in black and white, for 2 years, we are writing and giving. If we as an organization and you as a person, if you are a manager and there are 5 people reporting to you, I'm sure that everybody has different opinion about a particular thing. Let us understand strategy and how challenges these are. Challenges to strategic formulation and implementation. Now what happens is, if you tell, one guy will say, sir, मेरे को Thursday को छुट्टी दो ना. Another will say, मेरे को sir Friday चलेगा. Another will say, नहीं sir, मेरी wife का तो Saturday Sunday छुट्टी होता है, मेरे को 2 दिन चाहिए Saturday Sunday. What will happen is that every individual has different roles. If you have 5 people reporting to you also, 5 different individual, 5 roles, but we have in 1 quarter was approximately 4 to 5,000 people enrolling, which means we are talking about 4 batches and 20,000 students in this course. We are very clear that this is what we are giving in black and white before you start your course. Matlab, this is the way days BCF will be conducted with the dates. Yes, when we are having additional lectures which we are taking because we are able to fulfill, we give you at that time. Yes, because we want to give you little more, right? Little more. So, we have 2 sessions, we can complete in 2 sessions, but we want to give you a little more. So every faculty, very, very dedicated, who probably goes ahead and has another lecture, and the head here and the management here has been really so kind to give them. Never they have said no. I remember in one session, I took 4 also. I took 4, dear, right? Okay? And therefore, what happens is that the challenges that we have, I am not giving you any defense, dear, right? This is that because in a week, if there are 4 batches that I am conducting, there are just 5 days in a week. How can we conduct BCF for every batch 5 days a day? Because there are 4 batches. 4 batches which are there, now. Okay? See, but sir, sorry to interrupt, he says, in a way of continual improvement, as per ISO 9000, improvements can be implemented in view of genuine feedbacks. So here, feedbacks are taken. But many feedbacks which are there, many ideas in life which comes, many things which you get after you brainstorm, some ideas are very, very realistic and practical, but may not be financially viable. Many ideas are financially viable, but may not be practically implementable. Many things are implementable, but may not be that we implementable, but may not be, or 100%, not may not be, 100% it is not, that everybody, when you are implementing, is satisfied. So whenever you are, I don't know what level you are working, but when you go up, you will see, and as you go up, you will see, and as you further up, you will see that there is a challenge which is always there. Right? When we talk about Wellinger, you say, sir, I know Wellinger is BPO ISO 9000 certified. Dear, every organization, which organization are you working, Girish? Which organization are you working? Shipping. See, there are many organizations, Girish, which are ISO 9001 certified, which has ISO 11104 certified, which got even the Pele British Abhi, they have incorporated together this ISO certification, and for the production they want ISO 12860 certified. But dear, that doesn't mean that their product may not come into. What are these processes? These are processes in nature. It is documentation in nature, right? It is implementation in nature. So very clearly, when we are looking at, see, I am a faculty, I am doing marketing and strategy. Now, I have 4 batches together. If you say, sir, 4 computer लगा देते हैं, तो 4 computer लगाएगा, 4 दीपक भट्टाचार्य आएगा कहाँ से? Okay. So understand here that as a faculty, as a process, I'm not defending anything, Girish. I'm just telling you the challenges from the strategic management process, Girish. I'm sure everybody understand that, right? I'm just telling you these are what is these are, these challenges. We spoke about challenges in implementation. Now, I would like you to come to my seat, or whoever is covering this thing. Understand, 20,000 people enrolled, 4 batches in a year. Every 3 semesters, we have 4 batches VCF that I'm taking. I'm taking new batch October first semester. I'm taking marketing first semester, first term. Then July marketing. उससे पहले वाला जो है July, I'm taking marketing second semester, first semester, second term. Right? Then I am taking usse pehle wala batch, strategic management, second semester, first term. And I am taking January 15 batch, second semester, second term. So in a week, there are how many days? Right? So what happens is that abhi tum bolega Saturday, Sunday, to main tumko Saturday, Sunday de diya dusra batch. So maybe I am able to convince you what happens to the dusra batch. So we have to understand that these are the different processes here, right, which are there, and we would love to do that, on a Saturday, Sunday and do that, but we cannot do for everyone with the constraints that we are having. Feedbacks are taken, feedbacks are genuine, feedbacks are realistic, but our challenges are also genuine, our challenges are also realistic, and we also are trying our best to see what we could probably do and we will do there. These are challenges we are working on, right? Right, Sweta dear, she's telling me, right, that sir, are we starting the chapter or not? Sweta, first of all, came very late, so she has missed a lot of things, so she doesn't want to miss anymore. No problem, Sweta, you come late, no problem, right? What we are doing is that I am looking at from the strategic point of view. So we are not discussing strategy, sir. Sweta, yeah, we are not discussing strategy, dear. Okay, discussing strategy. So I know you may be a little impatient and may not be liking it there. Okay, don't worry. Don't worry. Okay, okay. We will be starting off, and I'm going to complete all of them. Don't you worry. But truly, sir, I've missed many times lecture in the past, and that is why I've raised. I have really missed the wonderful learning of VCF due to the above reason. Hence, Monday and should be okay. Yeah, thank you, dear. We'll definitely look at it. I have heard your thing, but I told you because of these challenges and strategies which we have. So as an organization, every organization has policies, every organization has some processes, every organization therefore has some systems. They go on formulating the strategy and implementing the strategy. When we implement the strategy, there will be challenges like just now, Girish, you asked me. We have to work on these challenges. Some challenges are possible, may not be able to work on. Some are possible, which we will work on. So we have to continuously evaluate. So what we are doing is evaluating, Girish. We will evaluate. That is our chapter. Sir, beat any day, challenges will always be there for all, says Deepali. Always, yeah. That's always there, dear. I hope Elinkar succeed in this channel. Thank you, Girish. Thank you very much, dear. Just to add, this is the only course which is planned in so much detail, much in advance. You are right, Sandeep. I told you, dear, I go to many places, right? And I myself am a fan of this course, because I tell you, I have not seen anywhere, I took full time in many places, big institutions, but dear, wherein it is so articulately planned that you for 2 years, you are given even your days of VCF, dear. When I talk 2 years, I'm talking about the first year of, this, and the 2 years may examine on that, dear. I'm sorry, which we are doing. Absolutely. Trust me, dear. Trust me. But yes, we can do further better. We are always willing to work and do better, dear. Right? Do better. Thank you very much, Sandeep. Thank you very much. And Deepali, thank you. And Sweta, You always come on time. I know you come on time. Today also you came on time, so I'm sorry. Probably I missed you in a different way, dear. Thank you very much, Sweta, for coming always on time. You are too good, dear. So we will evaluate and control what we are doing. What is introduction? There's a need for all the stockholders to know how well is my organization performing. I need to do that. Strategic controls bring in clear benchmark for measurements of performance. I spoke about KPI, key performance indicators. So we need to have very clearly articulated control measurements systems, measurement processes, very clearly defined benchmarks that this is what we need to do. And we will evaluate our performances. Strategic control therefore consists of evaluating the extent by which the organization strategies have been successfully implemented. You need to understand that. What are the fundamentals of evaluation? Very simple. We have to review the internal and external factors that are basis for the current strategies that we are implementing. We measure the performance of the particular department, individual, people, functional head that conforms to what plans we had earlier. Are we on that? If what is the gap? Gap means I said I will manufacture 100 units per day, but I am manufacturing only, let's say, 85. So there is a gap. So why this performance gap? So we need to analyze that. It is called as performance gap analysis. So we need to analyze that where is that gap, why is that gap, how much the gap is, and what we can do for that and control that. We need to therefore, after analyzing the gap, understand what the gap is and take corrective measures. I thought I will be able to do, I was not able to do. Why? So I have to take corrective actions, and after the corrective actions are taken, I move ahead. So strategic control process therefore determines and focuses what are those various parameters which we need to control. First, after you clearly define that, establish the control standards. What are the key performance indicators? What are the performance analysis? Once you do that and you have clearly defined that we will measure performance through these indicators, then measure the performance. कि भैया कितना किया देखो. Compare performance to established standard. मुझे 100 यूनिट करना था, 85 ही किया. So compare that. Determine the reason for the deviation. कि आज जब 100 सोचा था तो 85 क्यों हुआ? कहाँ प्रॉब्लम आ गया? बिकॉज जब मैंने 100 को फॉर्मुलेट किया था और प्लान किया था तो मेरे पास तो क्लियरली डेफिनेशन था मैं कैसे करूंगा, तो मैं क्यों नहीं कर पाया? So analyze that gap and take corrective action and take corrective measure. Now this is there everywhere. So define what to. Now what will you control? Obviously profitability, your market shares, productivity, leadership status है क्या मेरे product, brand, services का, and very important is even the human development standard. You see, this is very important because ultimately people are, I mean, ultimately I would put it in this way. Ultimately, it is humans, right, who will actually implement, even formulate and implement all the strategy. If these humans at various hierarchical levels are not developed, are not trained, are not coached, are not mentored, then in this situation, such a situation, how will you be able to, give and deliver what the organization wants? So people are very important, vital, crucial link which needs to be clearly defined, and all the things that we need to do to develop them has to be defined there. Employee attitude. What kind of attitude employees have? Union है क्या? Union क्या कर रहा है? उसकी attitude क्या है? Our CSR responsibility I spoke about. We need to have some standard. What are we going to do? We need to have that, and we need to go about measuring this performance. Control through performance, determine reasons for deviation, why we have deviated, evaluate the appropriateness of the यार gap आ गया सा, maybe 100 जो मैंने सोचा था कि मैं करूंगा, that itself was not right, because we were doing 70, we thought we will do 100, and we said we will do 100, so we will give all these things. 100 we wanted to do, so we required to have material. Now we had the material, but we required to run the machine, but my machine was already doing capacity utilization of 90%. I thought that 10% capacity utilization I will totally get and do 100, but when I actually started operating the machine, I found that the machine was not capable every day to get into 100% utilization, and if at all we were going and we were striving and we were trying to get, we were getting defective material. So when we were getting defective material, we had to move some material out. So we were making 100 material, but maybe 10 were out because it was defective, and therefore we had to throw it out. So we were probably doing everything, but maybe that 100 which we thought was very aggressive in the view of this. So which means the strategy itself was not right. We need to evaluate the appropriateness of that strategy. We need to evaluate the structure of the organization, which we discussed in the last chapter, and understand the suitability of achievement of the strategic objective by different people in the hierarchical structure of that organization. We need to understand that. So we have to determine the performance and take corrective action. Can we do something? Can we do anything on this? For example, just now Girish has some query, right? So can we do something to maintain or change this? Can we correct the actual performances in case this is not a performance, but I'm just giving an example. Can we correct? Suppose we have said yes, I will do, and I have not done. So now I have to understand that how do I take corrective action, right? Can we revise the standard? Ki nahi sahab, cannot do Saturday, Sunday, right? We will do throughout the week. So can we revise the standard? What are the things that we do? What are the things that we are doing? So we need to understand that. We need to understand that whether we have to take, what kind of mode do we take? Which means, do we take a normal mode, means follow the routine approach? Or do we take an ad hoc crash mode, saves time by speeding up the response process? कि ठीक है बॉस ये बोल रहा है इसके लिए कर डालो. Or do we take a proactive step? Proactive. Before the crisis happen, I take this step. Proactive step. Like I talked about, when you do formulation, understand the challenges with the implementation process, and therefore formulate the strategy. So you're taking a proactive step so that there is no problem in the implementation process. So we need to understand, shall we take a proactive step? So what are the recommended corrective actions which strategic managers do normally tell people? 1, revise the standard. 2, revise the objective. I told you 100 is not the right objective, boss. Revise it to 85, Revise the strategy. So the objective is right, sir, but the strategy what we are taking to implement this, maybe, sir, we can do a better job or more than 100, but let us invest into a new machinery, sir. Let us get a new technology now. This machine is 5 years old, sir, but if we can get a new machine, we will be able to probably do a better job. Why only 100? We may do 135, sir. So why don't, and whereas we will give rest also with both the machines. We'll give rest also with both the machines. So with that, we need to understand what do we, so do we revise the strategy? Do we revise the activity? Do we revise the structure? And then we need to evaluate. One could be an objective. Purpose of evaluation must be clear. Objective based evaluation. 100 दिया था कितना किया? 100 तेरा objective था, तेरा goal था. Standards of target must be realistic. Girish को मैं बोल रहा था, some people, some ideas would be very very good, but may not be financially viable. Some may be very financially viable, but may not be realistically applicable. So we need to understand, are the targets that we set are realistic? Evaluation system must be economical and cost effective. And we need to see that the system should be simple. We need to communicate. It is necessary, dear. I've been telling this, a good strategy implementation process will never work properly if it is not communicated across hierarchical level. So it is necessary to take people into confidence and communicate the strategy at every level so that the strategy is very effectively implemented. And the controls must be focused on action. So therefore, we need to have, you see, total operational control. Now, what are the other control? Budgetary control. Simple, dear. It refers to the management measures. What are the standard? What are the budget that we have set for ourselves? What are the planned results that we have set for ourselves and objective? What have we achieved? Strategic evaluation and control, therefore, becomes an integral part of budgets. हमने सोचा था 100 करने के लिए इतना पैसा लगेगा, इतना रॉ मटेरियल लगेगा, मैंने इतना बजट दे दिया, हमने उस बजट को एलोकेट कर दिया कि इस particular functional department mein, this is the budget that we will give. So, but with this budget, what is happening? So what we do it because an integral part of budget evaluation to effective action required for achieving that objective within the respective time frame. We need to actually do that. Then contingency planning. अगर वो वर्क नहीं हुआ तो हम क्या करेंगे? Crisis management, in other words. What do we go about? How do we go about? Disaster recovery we talk about, right? About this. We do business impact analysis to understand what is it and how we go about it. So there could be various ways in which we probably could look at how we go about things. To summarize here, strategic evaluation and control is a very important part of the strategic management process. 1, 2. This is a dynamic process, which means like formulation has done once and then it's implemented once and then, but evaluation is a dynamic process. It continues there. Right? It continues. This is what is actually going to decide whether the strategy that the organization has thought, whether it is being successful or not. The management, therefore, should have very clear KPIs, should have very clearly defined objective of measurements of performances, and they must measure and compare the actual performances against the benchmark, which is the gap which I spoke about. So performance gap, if at all if there is there, we need to analyze that performance gap, understand the reasons for those gaps. If required, we may revise the strategy, we may revise the target, we may revise the budget, or we need to take corrective actions at all level. Strategic evaluation and control may contingency planning, crisis management are an ongoing process in any organization. Because it happens sometimes that after planning also a lot, we may not be able to achieve what we would like to achieve because the situations may have changed. So we need to have a contingency planning process in place. We need to actually have a process where in case there is crisis, how do we manage it? That ends your chapter. So effectively, the strategic management process as such is over. I'm repeating again. Strategic management process is very crucial to any organization. Strategic management process starts with mission and vision of a company, then objectives, then goals. When you have defined this clearly, we have to take care of the internal environment and we have to scan the external environment. Side by side, we also need to understand our SWOT analysis and also talk about our TOS matrix, which I spoke to you last time. TOS matrix. Once we are clear that if we are on the success opportunity radar or quadrant, we will be able to be successful if we go ahead in that quadrant with the required strategy. After we are clear that this is what it is, then we go about formulating the strategy. Till the level of formulation, it is the top management who are involved. After the formula, so this is called as an intellectual level of the strategic management process. Now your strategy is formulated. So strategy is formulated at three levels. One is corporate level, another is business unit or SBU level, another is functional level. Once you have those very clearly defined, you go about the formulation process. After the formulation gets over, now you go about implementing the strategy. Strategic implementation process, therefore, is an action phase of the strategic management process. Strategic implementation process, therefore, is actually applicable to all hierarchical level in the organization. Strategic implementation process, therefore, has got a lot of challenges that needs to be addressed. Once you implement the strategy, it is very important, therefore, that you control, evaluate and control. So what kind of implementation process which you can process? You can have a command 5 implementation process. We looked at commander process, organizational change process. We looked at the collaborative approach. We looked at cultural approach. We looked at assessive approach. So now we have implemented, depending on the organization, we go about it. Now you implemented and you are moving ahead, right? A good plan has no meaning if it is not implemented properly. So it's very crucial. Once you are implementing the process, we need to continuously evaluate and control. We need to have very clearly defined objectives at every hierarchical level. Every individual has got a desired objective to achieve. Every individual, therefore, needs to be trained, motivated, coached and mentored to see this individual goals and objective are in sync with the functional department objective, are in sync with the SBU objective, are in sync, therefore, with the corporate strategy or corporate objective. Evaluation, therefore, is a very dynamic process, and we need to lay down clear-cut performance measure analysis. We need to continuously look at what are the key performance indicators at different levels and what and whom to be given what. We need to continuously, therefore, evaluate what is he doing, his performance, etc., and control at certain places. When we are able to see that, yes, when we are controlling, we see that, dear, we had a 10-100 and we are doing 85 and there is a gap. We need to understand why this gap is for, where the gap is coming from, when is this gap from, how do we do, or what do we do about that gap, and we need to take corrective action. If required, we may even be dynamic enough to change the strategy. It could be a strategic intent that we have said that we will be achieving this much without actually looking at the resource constraint that the organization was having. So we may have to revise the plan, we may have to revise the budget, we have to revise the thing. And as we move ahead, every organization, therefore, need to have a consistency, or we talk about in its implementation process. But yet after doing all that, also there may be positions and circumstances and environments where we will not be able to do what we so articulatedly planned. In such a situation, we should have a contingency planning process. We should have people applicable with due diligence, with compliances to basically get into crisis management. So we have to have this in place, and when we do that, we go ahead with the organization process in order to meet our objectives and goals, which is in line with our mission and vision. This is a complete process of strategic management and very, very crucial for every organization, small, big, across sectors, any place, across markets, that ends your strategic management process. Any questions, I will definitely take. Sweta, don't you worry, I'm not going to now take for long because I have about 40 minutes and 3 chapters to go, right? So if you have questions this time, I'm loading the next one. Now we have some general thing. One is globalization strategy. So I'm loading the next one, globalization strategy. I am always open to answer questions. So if you have one, please type. Okay. Since there are no questions, I am not asking you again to type. I'm going about with chapter number 11, which is globalization strategy. Dear friends, okay, let me ask you, have you understood the process? Have you understood the strategic management process? Say yes. Say yes. Okay. Thank you, dear Anita, Mohini, whatever other people, dear. We have 40 of them, Sigmund, Swati, yeah, and then yeah, whatever others I want to fast, yes, beta. Which means I know that you are understanding, so my efforts are not going waste. Yeah, very good. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much, Girish. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Mandeep says, yes, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, now I go into the next one, which is globalization strategy. Strategy, every organization needs to grow. How a business will grow, tell me. One, they grow by, yeah, Vasanti, yeah, it is going to be an overdose, dear. It is going to be overdose. Vasanti is saying we are able to understand everything, but it is becoming an overdose. It will be an overdose, dear. Everything good always overdose is always an overdose, and I have to give you another 3 overdose as 3 chapters. I am on the 11th one. I have to do 2 more, dear. So there will be still be overdose, dear. Sorry to say that. She says, sorry to say that, sir. I am also so sorry to tell you that, Vasanti. So sorry, dear. Okay, so we move about the globalization strategy. Very simple, dear. Every organization needs to grow. And in order to grow, how do you grow? How do you grow your business? Add new products. 2, sell more of your existing products. 3, sell more to your existing customers. 4, sell more to your new customers. Now, how do you get new customers? You may have to sell and get into newer markets. Now, when you want to get into new markets, if you say in India, you may have to go abroad and sell, right? Going into globalization. Therefore, companies need to have strategies which are global. So there are so many Indian companies which are selling outside, and therefore we say Indian multinationals. It could be Tata, Reliance, so many companies, are there. So therefore, globalization strategy, global strategies and organization strategic guide to globalization. कैसे मैं बाहर जाऊँ, कहाँ मैं बेचूँ, कैसे मैं बेचूँ. A global strategy may be appropriate in industry where firms are faced with strong pressure for cost reduction. If you go and work in the global market, right, you will have to see that you will have to give a good product at very competitive price, which means that you have to source material at a very competitive price, right? And you have to understand that what is the demand for the product and services in those markets. And therefore, global strategy requires the organization to be very, very tightly, I would put it in this way. Global strategies will require all organizations who are interested to go into different markets in this way. Whereas they would have to understand what could be the product which we will sell. Is it a demand for a product, for my product? What is kind of pricing strategy that I will probably use across international markets and across locations? Understand here, for example, let's say I'm an Indian multinational. Let me give an example. This cup I manufacture and I sell it for 5 rupees. And let's say my cost is 4 rupees. Now, if I want to sell this product, right, to let's say USA, so I will have to sell and mark the price in the US dollar. I go about in Europe, right? I have to put it, I go to Europe, I go to England, London, I want to sell in London, I have to give you pound. I go into, let's say, Spain, Italy, Germany, I have to go Turkey, Istanbul, so I will have to use a euro. I go to, Denmark, a krone. I go to Sweden, Swedish krone. I go to Norway, Norwegian krone. I go to Finland, Finnish krone. I come back to Bangladesh, Indian and Bangladesh UP. I go to Pakistan, right, Rupiah. You see, understand here. I go to UAE, I go to Dubai. I go to Dubai and I want to sell the dirham. I go to Qatar, Riyal. Now, understand here that when I have got 1 product which I am manufacturing here and I want to sell to global markets. See, I need to understand what kind of pricing strategy will I use because the rates are fluctuating. If you look at the past 8 months, the pound rates are as good as 98 to 100, 101 rupee. But if you look at the dollar rate, it has gone up, to 66 something, Yeah. How will you price? Very important here, very, very important. And therefore, firms that pursue a global strategy has to understand, has to make highly centralized. At the same time, firm needs to understand the cultural diversity, the currency movement, the social belongingness, the social structure, and should be creative and innovative and use best practices to sell abroad. So global strategy is very important. Every organization needs to do that. That is the reason in India we have so many multinationals who have come here and are operating. Here, what are the characteristics, therefore, of a global industry? Very simple. One, firms, all organizations compete in all the world market for that product in order to survive. For example, if Coca-Cola is there, they are selling, let's say, Coke. Now, they are selling that across the country, but they have competition, right? Local competition in their company. Major competition is Pepsi, and they will have major, competition in other countries. So firm needs to compete in global market. Firms should have a competitive advantage over their competitor. If they don't have, it's very difficult to actually get a higher price. So people will look to you as same and therefore offer you the same money. And if competition is fierce, margin gets thinner. Margin goes on thinning. So depends, therefore, competitive advantages are very bad. Therefore, since margin is thinning and we have to sell it at a lower price, the challenge is to get the material and reduce the cost of our product, which means that we need to go and for economies of scale, we need to go to the global market and source our raw material across the globe wherever we are able to get at a lower rate. Global markets are international markets where products are largely standardized. You cannot sell, products which are there, which are customized, yes, but only for particular industry. So global industry, same firms will compete with each other everywhere, everywhere. So what is the strategy therefore? Competing everywhere, appreciating the success demands the global market presence. Whenever you're selling into global markets, we need to have standardized products for that market. We need to have centralized control. We need to integrate and coordinate all the activities across the border. And they are effective when differences between countries are small and competition is global. Here, understand this. I just gave you an example of currency fluctuations, and I just rattled out a few currencies, and you know that when your rupee gets devaluated, some currency may get also devaluated along the rupee. There are some currencies which will go up, you see, along the rupee. Singapore dollar probably goes up, right? US dollars probably goes up. UK pound remains the same. Dirham goes up. Real may come a little down. So you see, you don't know. So you have to be very effective between countries how to sell. So you can have a multi-domestic strategy where products are tailored to individual countries. A good example was, I was going to Lonavala, I think on Saturday for training. And I was, I don't remember, and I was going there Tuesday again I was going, and West, as I was, taking the express highway, my son was there with me, so he said, okay, wait, we will have some McDonald's is there, before we take the express highway, there is a McDonald's on the left, and he said, we'll take one. Now he got some peri-peri and he got some, and he got, I said, okay, you go and bring it, I'm sitting here. So I was on my laptop working, he was there with me. And he got me one paneer chili, something burger, something, some. And I ate it, and it was fantastic. I really liked it. I said, wow, this is good. But Dad, you were not taking it. I said, well, I'm not liking that bread. But it was so well done. Now see, understand, McDonald's is famous for their Big Mac burger in the US, which is all of beef. But when it comes here in India, when they are selling, they are not talking about it because we are largely a Hindu country, wherein, we will not probably like to have that. So with that, they have tailored their product, customized their product with the taste that Indian people would like, spicy, spices, and giving. The same McDonald, you go to Bangkok, you will have a different taste. The same McDonald, you go to Dubai, you will have a different taste. The same McDonald, you go to USA, you probably have a different taste. Dear, when you as a company would like to go for globalization strategy, you need to understand the needs of those customers there. Once you understand the needs of those customers there, then according to those needs, you go about making the product and giving. And whenever you are going to do a multi-domestic strategy by tailoring and customizing to that particular country, you need to have decentralization of decision making. They have to take a decision. McDonald's will take a decision, India will take a decision. They will have decentralization of local sourcing also. They will source the material the way they want it to be sourced, and they will respond to the local needs there. And the key drivers therefore of globalization is obviously what the market is doing, what is the global distribution network, what is transferable marketing, what are the needs of the customer. Two cost drivers, economies of scale, I've spoken about. What are transportation costs? What are the product development costs or service development costs? Is there a scope in this business, right? What are the kind of costs that we could probably get? Third, the government driver. Is the government supportive to this? What are the trade practices that are there in that country? What is the foreign direct investment policies and procedures that that country has? Is it compatible? Are we for privatization? What are the technical standards in that company? Is it much higher to our standards, and are we able to give them a technological product that they want? Fourth is competitive drivers. Who are the competitors in that country? How strong is that competitor? You see, we have to understand these drivers. And therefore, global economy views the world as a single market, and organization would like to create synergy approach. Synergy means togetherness by serving multiple markets. So as a global strategy, big organization will create a synergy and look at multiple markets, right? And formulate a unique competitive strategy for each specific market, like McDonald's example. Snehal has written to me, sir, presence of innumerable Indians in the US has compelled Mac to serve veg patties, which was not available earlier. Very good, dear. Very nice, yeah. Good, you're right, Snehal. Right. So obviously, since there is not only the Indians there, but it also could be that people are talking about more of, go vegetarian, become vegetarian, eat a lot of leaf. So I see many foreigners also there who probably are vegetarians or who probably want to turn vegetarian. Right. So it's not only because of the Indians who are vegetarians, it is also because every country probably, they are also telling, that it is better to consume leafy vegetables and things like that. So what natural, they are giving them another product, right? They patronize vegetarian food nowadays, says Snehal. Yeah, so that's exactly what I told, because I know that and I go there. So understand. These are the things. So it's not because of India. It could be because the customer का need क्या है, उस market में what do customer want. Accordingly, what customer want, I do. Majority of customer what they want, every customer we can't satisfy. right? Let's understand this, we can't satisfy. So we can develop a global business outlook and we can develop a vision for our thing. We have to understand what are the stages of, so how do we go about, so what are the stages they? Sabse pehle what companies do it, that they first go, suppose I want to sell in UAE, so I want to go globalization, so what I will do is, मैं दुबई में जाएगा, एक डीलर को पकड़ेगा, तो बोले मेरा माल बेच, right? So I will start with local dealers and distributors in that country. Afterwards, I will see how it's happening, and then I can take over the marketing and the distribution activity. That's the second phase. The third phase is that I will start manufacturing that. And the fourth stage is now I will have full-fledged operation in that country. So now the company will serve the local customer and generally move towards global mode of operation. Because now you are generally moving towards global. This is the different stages that people normally take care and normally do. Look at Honda. Give an example. Honda, yeah. Honda first came here, collaborated with, Hero Honda and said, I will sell, you said. And then they did Hero Honda, now they are Hero is different, Honda is different. Honda apna chala hai. They are having their own distribution network, everything is there. So they are doing it. So mostly if you look at, that is how the stabilization. What are the enablers of globalization? You understand, is the business climate suitable? What is the economy? What is the infrastructure in that country? What is the government support? Right? What are the, see, Modi is going everywhere, our Prime Minister is going everywhere and saying, come to India, make in India, come to India, make in India. We have great humans. So what is he doing? He's trying to actually tell other people that come to our country, we will give you licenses, ease of business, is easier. We are not into the license Raj now. And we are very open so that, when these companies come here, obviously our economy will go up, more people will be getting employment, and every standard will go up and things will go up. So government support, very important. Right? What is the government support in that country and what are the resources? Will we get good people to work with? Will we have enough resources in every angle? What is the competitive advantage? Who are the competitors in that country? What are the intrigation? What are the is the people resistance to change? Now, people are generally resistant to change, but yet we need to understand what are the socio-economic conditions in that country, what are the social factors, what are the cultural factors in that country, what is the country's image, right? Stringent government policy. What like if you see a few years back, you would not have gone and done, opened a company and done a business in Dubai or the UAE. You needed to have a sheikh as a partner. Even if you wanted to open a small retail shop, you required to have a sheikh as a partner. Without that, you can't operate in that business, in that country. Slowly things are changing and have changed, right? And it will change. So things will change, okay, forward. So you have a corporate level. The corporate strategy, therefore, in international market will include exports. We can do export and sell. Foreign direct investment we can do. We can get into joint ventures. We can acquire a company and merge that company into our company. We can have strategic alliances. We can get into franchising mode like McDonald's. We can give licenses to sell our product and services in that country. So there could be different ways in which a company probably moves up. Now, when we are pursuing globalization, there could also be mistakes. Like we have misjudged the risk possible. We thought the business was very good and the government is very supportive. When we went there, we saw it was not there. We need to understand, right, what are the estimation of availability of infrastructure that we have done. Maybe wrong. People we will get at X price, but when we went there, we saw people demanding more price. We are selling our products, but we are insensitive to their culture. If we are insensitive to their culture, it will not work. Right? It will not work. We cannot be insensitive to the culture. Right? So we have to be, so these are the mistakes that we can do in a globalization. So dear friend, therefore, to summarize, global businesses, every business need to grow. And in order to need to grow, they are looking at new markets. And if they are looking at new markets, and if you want to be into global businesses, you have to look at markets there. But understanding the market, understanding the socio-economic condition, the cultural factors, the economy, the government support, the infrastructure, the people, we then and the products that we have, that will have the potential there, technology, whether this is there, the infrastructure, whether we will get there, we decide how do we go about it. If we, the first stage of going about it is, first we can appoint a local dealer who will sell, then we can take the marketing and distribution, then we will go for backward integration and have our own plant, and now we can operate fully in that country and become a global player. But however, there could be mistakes in our understanding. As in every business, there could be mistake. Maybe we have not read it right. Maybe we are insensitive to the culture. Like McDonald's says, no, I'm going to use the same, thing which I have been successful with, which is the Big Mac here, and I will sell here, and I will chain people, and I will turn them into this. It would have not worked. So we need to understand the customization, understand the sense, and be sensitive to the culture of that country and move ahead. So that's what ends globalization. I will go to strategic leadership, the next chapter. Any questions again, please type. I'm loading the next one. Yeah, Snehal is writing, sir, supermarket called Patel. Opened up new store and displayed an auto rickshaw with a Gujarat number plate. It was a hit with Indians as well as Americans. That was his strategy to lure more customers to his store, and it worked very well. The store is in US, says Snehal. Thank you, Snehal, for sharing that with us. Good. So we go ahead with the next one, since you have no questions, right, with strategic leadership. I have one more to go here. Strategic leadership, okay. Very simple, dear. What is strategic leadership? As the word suggests, and we have learned all of them, is that what is the importance of leadership and corporate governance. Without effective leadership at the top of the organization, the individual employee are less likely to be empowered and therefore less likely to develop their own leadership skills. Leave aside an individually developing his leadership skill. To me, it is important is that at the top, if you don't have a leadership, if you don't have a leader who probably have that kind of vision and that what is it that he would like to take its organization to, at levels at which he takes his organization to, what is the point, Therefore, you need in every organization a leader, and you need in an organization a very strategic leader. But there are many challenges which a leader faces, obviously, and we have seen continuously, through which people continuously learn. Like we discussed with Girish, that we are a leader in our business, into this format, and we are doing everything which is possible, everything more and more, and people are not, very, very few people accept and take all of them, but yet we will have challenges, yet we will have some things and some things, some people, who may not be satisfied on a particular format, right? But it is possible, dear. Now, we need to understand here, an organization therefore aspires for high growth. Every organization aspires for high growth, and globalization is one of the vision of every organization, that I would also one day go abroad and sell my product. There are always complexities in business anywhere. There are always risks in business anywhere. There are always uncertainty in business anywhere. But it is always the great leadership, which basically, look at Infosys, it was there, and after in a few years back, it was growing, but not growing as well. And then they got the CEO, new CEO, Dr. Sikka here, and he in 1 year tried to change the organization, and now he says that we will grow, to from $8 billion, he says, I think, to $20 billion by 2020. Right. So, and he is very clear that we will get into new businesses, new opportunities, new thing, new spaces, new sector, new niches. And he very clearly has planned that in 5 years' time, we will go from $8 billion to 20 billion US dollars. Okay. So look at it here. Very clear. Now he is trying to give, as a leader, a very strategy. It's very important. It's always a great leadership that mitigates these rises and plays a crucial role in directing the strategic change management process and guide the organization into the future. Now, how is Dr. Sikka, trying to get this, and Infosys, and it's the first time that they got someone outside the company, and he is using as a great strategic leadership process and probably doing it. If you look at it, share prices went up, to 1,200 and some big figure, 160, 65, and then with these things happening, it came down, came down, it came down, came down. Yesterday I bought a few shares at 1,019, 1,019, and now again today I saw it went up to 1,034 or 45 or something like that. Let's understand here that a good company to buy, good company to invest in, 5 years down the line, 8 billion, say 20, why it went down? Because I just said that our third quarter result will not be as per our expectation, right? And if it is not be, the market is very sentimental and it moves down. Always keep money to enter, as a strategy into markets when it's down. Go on buying these companies, very fundamentally strong companies, rich companies with rich cash flow, money, good strategy, good business model in multinational company, globalized business, IT doing well, technology sector going to go up, every day new technology. Every third day, technology is changing. Every third day, getting into new businesses. So this is the future. And therefore, it's good to invest in companies which are fundamentally strong. Why? Because you have to understand and read into who is the leader and how is he shaping the company. And someone asked me, when yesterday only my son was telling me that, I told him, but see, understand, this is not a very, very, very difficult task, you see. He's talking about growing in 5 years more than doubling the sales, It's just possible with 30-40% growth year on year, It is possible. Look at the rupee value growing, rupee devaluing, and they itself are growing by 10-15% because the rupee is devaluing, and most of the businesses, most of the earnings of them are in US dollars. So see, we need to understand, for an example, I'm telling you that we need to understand our strategy and we need to understand how to. So what is the key responsibility of a manager? And differences between leadership, coping with organization complexity, planning, budgeting, operational control. When we are doing operations, we are implementing a process, we are into the operation, we have to control, implementing the strategy, taking good people, recruiting, staffing them well, motivating them so that they perform, controlling them, decision making, problem solving, efficiency, effectiveness in every sphere, violations in every sphere, And the key responsibility of leadership, this is the key responsibility of a manager. What is the key responsibility of leadership? Creating vision and setting a direction. Dr. Sikka, 8 billion, 20 billion, this is what. Seeking a vision and creating a direction. Formulating the strategy. How? So he has said, go and read into it. If you are interested, go and read and you will find out, So how it is going to do it. Formulating, communicating with stakeholders to align them to the vision. So every shareholder knows that this is what we are looking at as a company. I'm a shareholder in the company, so how do we go about and how it is looking at it? Dealing with change. You don't know how it will change tomorrow. This is what we're looking at today. This is what our strategy is today. This is what we feel today, looking at the environment today. But the environment is not going to be changed. Maybe the environment is changing and it's going to be more productive. So instead of 20, we could come to 25 billion. I don't know. It is possible the other way also. But we need to deal with change. When we are continuously evaluating and controlling, we could deal with change. We need to motivate people. We need to inspire people. We need to empower people so that they go about taking action. We need to, if they are taking action and doing a good job, we need to reward them. We need to recognize them. And we need to go about. So leader influences the attention of an employee. Role of a leader should be a designer. Leader has to be a teacher. Leader should be a steward, moving. Leader is the role of stewardship for all the people in the organization. And therefore, dear friend, leadership skills are required for effective strategic implementation. So a leader has to build a shared vision. He had, how is he build a shared vision? He had a vision. He has to communicate that vision. So it becomes a shared vision. And then he has to build that shared vision by inspiring people to be with him. So build a shared vision. Obviously, there will be challenges. And if you have challenges, you have to work towards it. Right? You have to work towards it. Like I said, in the PCP, that मुश्किल नहीं है कुछ भी इस दुनिया में. मुश्किल नहीं है कुछ भी इस दुनिया में, जरा हिम्मत तो कीजिए, ख्वाब बुलेंगे हकीकत में, जरा कोशिश तो कीजिए. Right? So, dear, understand that you see, we have a vision. कोशिश तो कीजिए बॉस. Right? There will be challenges. कोशिश तो कीजिए. Right? Now understand dear, ऐसे ही बनता है ना, कुछ भी नहीं है मुश्किल इस दुनिया में बॉस. जरा हिम्मत तो कीजिए, ख्वाब, विजन बदलेंगे हकीकत में, रियलिटी. कोशिश तो कीजिए, स्ट्रेटेजी तो बनाइए, इम्प्लीमेंट तो कीजिए, लोगों को लीजिए, शेयर कीजिए अपना विजन, मोटिवेट कीजिए, इंस्पायर कीजिए कि आपके साथ चले, रिवॉर्ड कीजिए उनको जो आपके साथ चलते हैं, रिकॉग्नाइज कीजिए, ऊपर चढ़ाइए. राइट? And you move ahead dear, and we can probably go ahead dear. We can't probably go ahead dear. So this is very, very important here. And therefore, what is important is, new things I bring out here, right? Yeah. So new things I bring. I have to, dear. I charge a lot of money, so I have to get something new every time. Okay. In the corporate world, I see this into trainings, a lot of jargons, So create mental models, systems thinking, effective decision making, boss. You need to have this. Managing change, because change is the only constant, Change is the only constant. Very good. Sigmund is telling me, sir, दुनिया में नहीं चीज क्या दुनिया, सर दुनिया में कोई चीज नहीं है ऐसा जैसा पैसा. So you remember that, yeah? And that's good, that's good. So that's good. Thank you, Sigmund. Yes, dear. And thank you. Okay, so we move out. So what you do coach the people, mentor the people, develop the people, engage the people, unlock leadership potential to them, empower them. Performance management, we spoke about, right? Performance management, we spoke about it, right? Motivate them, and as you move ahead here. And therefore, self-awareness law, self-regulation law, internal motivation law. Many people who are here are internally motivated to continue this and want to do that. We had 39 people, a few has left, we have 33 of them now. Internally they were not motivated and therefore they moved ahead, Empathy law, look at them, understand what is their problem. Like when Girish said something, I understand your issue, I understand your problem, but we have to try to do something about it, whether it is possible or not, maybe tomorrow, maybe, I don't know. So we'll have to understand this. Social skills we should have. We should have expert leadership. We should have achiever leadership, right? We have to have that. NAC, I call it, need for achievement. There are some people who have the need for achievement. I say in workshop, NAC. And what are the characteristics of these NAC people, who have the need for achievement? Right. Each organization has formed communities, therefore, and people with multicultural diversity bring in different characteristics. If you look at multinational companies, you have so many other culture people working in the company, and together, they work and have the leadership change here. Best practices in any leadership is to take a system-based approach, use policies, use procedure, emphasize alignment between different parts of the organization, and see that we actually go about getting in a consolidated form rather than looking at it in a piecemeal approach here. We have to understand that there is a great impact of course in leadership. Now this is again a leadership chapter which you have already done in principle of management. We need to have a leading transformation thing, a leader, right, who can transform. So roles and responsibility of top leaders are very crucial, and effective execution of the strategy. Otherwise, the strategy will not be executed. Leaders therefore play a very important role in developing people, in having a vision, in sharing that vision, in creating the values in people, in creating ethics, as I said, ethics in the organization stand for. And therefore, we have to see that we do enough to motivate our people so that they share a common vision and we deliver what we are here for. That is strategic leadership, talking about how leaders' role is important to deliver what we as an organization are looking at. With that, I go to the last one, which is corporate governance. Again, we have done this thing in something other. What is corporate governance, SEBI and all that? So I will hurriedly rush through this. In the meantime, again, as you say, in case there are any questions, you can ask me. Thank you. Swati is saying, sir, we always remember your words. Thank you, Swati. God bless you, dear. We go in the last one. Okay, dear, we will go to the last one, right? Of corporate governance. You have already done in some form or the other, I think. But we will just go through this very hurriedly to understand the importance of what is the corporate governance. Corporate governance basically is a life of any business and needs to sustain in its existence. Dear, corporate governance is tightly tied with the purpose of their organization and how the firm defines its business. Let's understand it very clearly. How do you define corporate governance? It involves a set of relationships between a company's management, the board of shareholders, and other important stakeholders like employees, partners, etc. Dear friends, every organization needs to do good corporate governance or act as per good corporate governance. And what are the fundamentals of that? One, shareholders of an organization have relations with all the stakeholders who have invested in the company because it is their money at stake. And the way in which companies are directed and controlled. Now, if you look at the stakeholders in any modern core organization, you will find external stakeholders. Who are they? Shareholders, like equity holders, like I just said that I am invested in Infosys, so I am a shareholder. Debt holders, people जो लोग ने debt the equity, मतलब debentures लिया होगा, जिन्होंने loan दिया होगा, it could be bank, etc. Trade creditors, माल दिया होगा, suppliers, customers, communities. Internal stakeholders can board of directors, executive in the company, and the employees. What is the principle of corporate governance here? Very simple, rights and equitable treatment of shareholders has to be there. Organizations should respect the rights of all the shareholders and help the shareholders to exercise their rights, give them return on investment, work and see that they continuously give them dividend and shareholders' value continuously goes up. An organization have obligation even to the non-share stakeholders like the people who supply material to them, who are our vendors, the society as such, that is the community, the creditors, जिसको हमें पैसा दें, जिससे हमें पैसा लेना है. We have to look at this here. And risk of responsibilities of the board needs to understand and meet the requirements. You know, that simple example I will give you of Satyam. What happened to Satyam, we all know, dear, right? Ramalingam Raju, what he did with the funds, how he moved the fund, how he went on in showing increase in sales, how he went on showing Satyam share value going up. But then there are, there is the shareholder, the people, stakeholders who are there in the company executive, the company top. I mean, what did they do, They cheated, right? The people, the shareholders in the company. So that is not good corporate governance. There has to be disclosure and transparencies between them. And company law has very clearly defined regulations, codes and guidelines with respect to corporate governance. There is an Act of 2002, there are some OECD principles, there are standards laid down to actually go about and list your company in the stock exchanges, and there is other guidelines like international corporate governance and so on. In India, the body which regulates this is SEBI. SEBI is Security Exchange Board of India. SEBI has got guidelines and norms which are laid. The market regulators has listed requirements for compliance in the listing agreement, which means that if I as a company would like to go and list my company in the stock exchange, I have got a list of regulations which I need to follow. They have also issued guidelines under certain clauses of listing agreement, and key standard of SEBI are there which every organization needs to follow. And what are those key standards of SEBI which we need to follow? One, there has to be independent directors on the board. A separate meeting of independent directors have to be conducted. Stakeholders relationship committee has to be there. Enhanced disclosure of remuneration policy, which means that what money you are giving whom has to be clearly, transparently told to stakeholders. There has to be a policy and procedure and system to evaluate the performance of all the directors in the company. Any transactions that we do, it needs to have prior approval of the audit committee. Stakeholders and special resolution from material related transactions are also required. And at least, which is a very recent one woman director on the board of every listed company has to be there. So you know that Tina Ambani has now become a director in Reliance Industry, which she was not, because after this thing came in, that one woman director on the board of every listed company has to be there. So now a woman is listed as a board of directors. So these are corporate governance rules very clearly laid down. If an organization is not following these rules, which means that they are not doing right corporate governance, and every organization therefore needs to do that. And actually, when you do that, you also have to look at CSR. I'm not going into all that again. Immense time we have spoken about CSR responsibility. That ends your chapter. Very small chapter. Corporate governance in a way of an organization is directed and controlled. It is a system of law. And therefore, SEBI as a body which is guiding the corporate governance have very clearly laid down certain rules that needs to be followed, like what we looked at, about 5, 6, 7 rules which we looked at. And every company therefore should have a social responsibility which defines the company's purpose and defines that long term beyond the financial measures like profitability. Now that is very important, and corporate governance therefore is a prime part of any organization. Just to summarize here, we have already done strategic management. We started with, your chapter will start in this exam from business unit level strategy. Then we will do functional unit, then strategic formulation, implementation, evaluation, control. Then we looked at 3 general chapters, one on leadership, one on corporate governance, and another on globalization. Very simple. That ends your syllabus for the second term. Second semester strategic management. Yeah, I am over with it. In case you have a questions, I will take. Sir, I have a question immediately. Sir, which are important chapters from exam point of view? Vasanti, I think I have been telling you, and I have told this umpteen times, I will again repeat. See, any MCQ based exam, how it is done better. Every chapter say there are, let's say, 30 questions MCQ which are made. Now suppose you have 10 chapters and 300 MCQs. These 300 MCQs are given to Computer Baba. When Vasanti, you will take the exam, 50 questions out of that will flash on your screen. It may happen that from chapter number 6 you get 3 questions, and from chapter number 12 you get none. When I go and I enter and I want to take the exam, and 50 questions out of that 300 will come up through a permutation combination methodology. It may happen that I get 6 questions from chapter number 12, you got none, and I get only 1 question from chapter number 4, you got 6. So dear, from exam point of view, whenever it's an MCQ based exam, you cannot say what is important. You cannot say what is the weightage which is there. You know, chapter wise you have known from the strategic formulation process which is important and which is not. But from the exam point of view, in a multiple choice based exam, you have to study and read the entire book, understand the concept. I am again repeating this, that in strategic management, most of your questions will be based on application orientation and not theory, and therefore you need to understand what we have said, and then the questions will be asked in the form of a company is doing this and company is doing that, is it doing right corporate governance? So you'll have to understand what is the company doing, is it right corporate governance? If yes, then yes, otherwise no. So you have to understand it. So from exam point of view, all chapters are important. Great. Any other question? Any other question? Swati says, thank you, sir. Thank you. If you have no questions here, it was great. Nice being with you. Thank you very, very much for everything. Mohani and all, you know, you told me that you are coming for the workshop I'm doing on the 29th. Yeah, I'm doing a workshop on first-time manager. We'll do a lot of psychometric tests as well as different things is there. So anyone who is interested can come in case it is open. And all the people like Mohani and all who told me that you are coming, great dear. It will be nice meeting you again. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you very much to be here. Yeah, do a good job. Love you all, dear. Bye. See you.